Hello, 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 everyone. Hey. Today we're gonna do a bit of a relaxed stream. It's been quite a long week for me, and I thought today would be a nice day for some chatting, some reading, and just generally, probably a bit of a shorter stream too. We'll see. We'll see. I'm not entirely sure. I have my books prepared. Could also probably do like an ASMR stream. I don't think I have the correct microphone for this, but gotta be honest, I'm not really someone who likes ASMR that much. I mean, someone else likes it, absolutely fine. Just not for me. Kinda. Like I heard people, it's like itching their brain or something. For me, it's always a bit. A bit bigger. Oh, I'm growing. For me, it's always a bit. I don't know. It's like it is also like a bit of an itching, but not a comfortable one. If this makes sense. Not entirely sure. And it's not for me. I only like the ones that are like quite stupid. Just that's basically parodies. But yeah, I have my tale books prepared right in front of me. I said maybe just some yapping, some tale telling. Not a tale tale after all. It's been actually quite a while since I last read a few tales. I think it's like 3-4 weeks ago. Oh, almost a month. If not longer. Not sure. I kinda lost track of time in the last couple of weeks. Yeah. That's not this year perfect. I hope every one of you has a nice day so far. Weekend is upon us very soon. Hope you all have nice plans. Oh, relax a bit. It's off. I'm kind of looking forward to it to the day. I'm not entirely sure what tales we're gonna read. Gonna spoil as much. I don't know those tales yet. Like I haven't read them. Because I wanna read them first time in stream. I have a Nordic tales. I have Celtic tales, and what I also got, what I never read from before, is it's called Mythopedia. It's basically an encyclopedia. That's how I pronounce it in English. Of different mythical beasts. That was quite fun, I thought. It's less of a tale and more of a bestiary, you could say. It has like different mythological creatures from different cultures, or from every continent basically, like from the Americas, Europe, Africa, Asia, and Oceania, which could be kind of fun. And I also technically have second. Oh, I think I did. One of the books clonked. I have also one about Japanese tales. Only read one of those four, which was written quite weirdly. I don't know if I'm continue reading from this one. Because the tale I read from this book was like written in like an not really a tale way, but more of I'm gonna explain this tale, which, I mean, can also be interesting, but it's not really something I personally like to read. I really want to tell the story and not, oh yeah, this is happening because that and that. And that's what the author meant by it. But maybe it was just this one story. Maybe this was just this one story we read. It's some like weird explanations where here I must tell you Japanese feudal times were privileged class of whatever. Have big group of books. As information. I'm always saying this before, and I will say this throughout the stream probably. While I'm reading, I will probably not really look at chat. I will most likely react to any like alerts that come up because, I mean, like a follow or a sub or a raid maybe even. Of course, I'm gonna react to this. Well, feels kind of rude, but I will get to all chat messages eventually. But it will be like after paragraph or after I finish this particular tale. Then there are like multiple tales in this book. Like most tales I think are like 5-6 pages long. So there will be plenty of time that we can chat in between. Category to reading. Looks like we're in for a good time. All the same. I hope you're in for a good. Relaxing. Writing. Good. Not quite sure with which one we start. Said I have all 4 books right in front of me. I feel like let's start with a Nordic. Do you have any preferences on type of tale, like 4 books I have in front of me right now? Said Celtic, Japanese, Nordic, and like mythical beasts. You can totally write them into the chat, and for the next tale, I will read multiple ones, most likely. I can take this into account. Maybe like afterwards we can like read a Celtic tale if you want, or another Nordic, or it's totally up to you all. First off, we have a tale from the Nordic Tales book. This is a book by, it is just the illustrator. Also the author of the book. Let me just check. Because book is just called Nordic Tales. Folklores from Norway, Sweden, Finland, Iceland, and Denmark. And it was illustrated. Very nice pictures in there too. Unfortunately, I cannot show them to you. It's illustrated by LuxTaleor. Probably mispronounced horribly. I found this by accident. LuxTaleor is an artist and illustrator and graphic designer from Helsinki, so like the capital of Finland, Helsinki. It's a collection of different stories from Nordic folklore, and I'm really liking the Nordic folklore. I mean, it's pretty obvious. Like the little button I have on my head is actually Yggdrasil, like a symbol of Yggdrasil, the big tree. In German, it's called the Weltenbaum. The world tree, I guess, is the translation to it. The big world tree which holds up the walls. Through which all worlds are connected. So the first tale is called East of the Sun and West of the Moon. It's a tale from Norway. Just adjust everything a little bit here so that I don't bump the microphone while I'm reading. change the output. This is a bit more cozy vibe. I need to get a better background for it. I also was looking for an asset which basically is like me holding a book, but I didn't find anything, so I probably have to commission something. But eventually we'll get to this. Maybe for the next reading stream I have some. But by now I unfortunately couldn't find it. Alright, wait, it's gonna be a little bit janky with the model for a moment. Second. Just a second. Bit janky. Have to reposition everything a little bit. A little bit boy. Ouch. Otherwise, while I'm holding the book, I'm blocking the tracking otherwise. This is a bit nonsensical. It worked. What? What does owls do? I want to say howling, but anyway, we're gonna start. East of the sun, west of the moon. There was once a poor tenant, many children, but very little, or clothes to give them. They were all pretty children, but the prettiest, the youngest daughter, who was so lovely, there was almost too much. Lovely. So, one Thursday evening, late in the autumn, and there was terrible weather, and it was dreadfully dark. And it rained and blew as well, till the wall creaked. They were all sitting by the hearth, busy with something or other. All at once, someone knocked 3 times on the window pane. The goodman went out to see what was the matter. When he came outside, he saw a great big white bear. "Good evening," said the white bear. "Good evening," said the man. "Will you give me your youngest daughter, and I will make you as rich as you now are poor," said the bear. Yes, the man thought. It would be very nice to be so rich. But he must speak with his daughter first. He went in and told her the great white bear was, who promised that he would make them rich if he could only get her. She said no. You would not agree to such an arrangement. Man went out and arranged with the white bear that he should come again next Thursday for an answer. In the meantime, they talked her around and told her all the riches they would come in possession. And now fine she herself, and she would just have it in her home. At last, she gave in their entry fees, began washing, mending a few rags, made herself look as well as she could, and was at last ready for the journey. Her baggage, of course, was much to speak of. Next Thursday evening, the white bear came to fetch her. She got up on his back, the bundle, and away they went. When they had gone some distance, the white bear said, "Are you afraid?" No, she wasn't afraid. Well, only hold tight. A coat, and there's no danger. there. And so she rode far, far away, and came at last to a big mountain. The white bear into a big mountain. The white bear knocked at it. The gate was open. The white bear knocked at it. The gate was open, and they came to a castle where there were a great many rooms, all lit up, gleaming with silver and gold. And amongst these was a great hall, where a table was ready laid. In fact, all was so grand and splendid that you would not believe it as you saw it. So the white bear gave her a silver bell, which was to ring whenever there was anything she wanted, and her wishes would be attended to at once. Well, when she had eaten, it was getting late the evening. She became sleepy after the journey, so she thought she would like to go to bed. She rang the bell and had scarcely touched it before she was in her room. She found such a beautiful bed as anyone could wish for, with silken pillows and curtains, gold fringes. Everything else in the room was made of gold and silver. But when she had gone to bed without the light, she heard someone coming into the room and sitting down in the big armchair near the bed. It was the white bear, who at night would throw off his shape, and she could hear by his snoring. He said in the chair that he was now the shape of a man. But she never saw him, because he always came after she had put out the light. And in the morning, before the day dawned, he was gone. Well, for a while everything went on happily, but then she began to be silent and sorrowful, for she went about all day alone. No wonder she longed to be home with her parents and her sisters and brothers again. When the white bear asked what ailed her, she said she was so lonely there. She walked about all alone and longed for her home and her parents, brothers and sisters. And that was the reason she was so sad. That was the reason she was so sad. But you may visit them if you like, said the white bear. If you will only promise me one thing, you must never talk alone with your mother, but only when there are others in the room. She will take you by the hand and try to lead you to a room to speak with you all by yourself. But you must not do this by any means, or you will make us both unhappy and bring misfortune. One Sunday, the white bear came and told her that they were now going to be her parents. Away they went, she sitting on his back. They traveled far and long. At last, they came to a grand white farmhouse, where her sisters and brothers were running about. Everything was so pretty that it was a pleasure to see it. The parents are living there, said the bear. But mind you, don't forget what I have said, or you will make us both unhappy. No, she would not forget it. When they came to the farm, the bear turned around and went away. There was such a joy. There was such a joy. She came to her parents, but there was no end to it. They said they did not know how to thank her fully for what she had done for them. They had everything they wanted, and everybody asked after her, wanted to know how she was getting on and where she was living. She said that she was very comfortable and had everything she wished for. But what she otherwise answered, I don't know. But I believe they did not get much out of her. But one day, after dinner, it happened exactly as the white bear had said. Her mother wanted to speak with her alone in the chamber. But she recollected what the bear had told her and would not go with her. What we have got to talk about, we can do at some other time, she said. But somehow or other, her mother talked her round at last, and so she had to tell her everything. She told her how a man came into her room every night as soon as she had to put out the light, and how she never saw him, but he was always gone when the day dawned. She was sorrowful at this, for she thought she would so like to see him, and in the daytime she walked about there all alone, felt very lonely and sad. Oh dear me, said her mother. It may be a troll for all we know, but I will tell you how you can get a sight of him. You shall have a piece of candle from me, and this you must take with you home in your bosom. When he is asleep, light the candle, but take care not to drop any of the tallow on him. Yes, she took the candle, but take care, take the candle and hid it in her bosom. And in the evening, the white bear came and fetched her. When they had gone some distance away, the bear asked her everything hadn't happened as he said. Yes, she couldn't deny it. Well, if you have listened to your mother's advice, you will make both unhappy, and all will be over between us, said the bear. No, she hadn't. When she came home and had gone to bed, the same thing occurred as before. Someone came into the room and sat in the armchair by her bedside. But in the middle of the night, when she heard he was asleep, she got up and struck a light, lit the candle, and let the light fall on him. She then saw that he was the loveliest prince anyone would wish to see, and she fell at once in love with him. She thought that if she could not kiss him there and then, she would not be able to live. And so she did. But she dropped 3 hot drops of tallow on him, and he woke up. What have you done? He said. You have now made us both unhappy forever. For if you had only held out 1 year, I would have been saved. I have a stepmother who has bewitched me, and I am now a white bear by day and a man by night. But now all is over between us, and I must leave you and go back to her. She lives in a castle which lies east of the sun and west of the moon. And in the same castle There's a princess with a nose 2 yards long, and now I must marry her. She wept and cried, but there was no help for it. He must go and leave her. So she asked him if she might not go with him. No, that was impossible. But if you will tell me the way, I will try and find you, she said. I suppose I may have leave to do that. Yes, she could do that, he said. But there was no road to the place. It lay east of the sun and west of the moon, and she could never find her way there. Next morning, when she awoke, both the prince and the castle were gone. She lay on a little green field, far in the middle of the dark, thick forest. And by her side lay the same bundle with her old rags, which she had brought with her from home. When she had rubbed the sleep out of her eyes and wept till she was tired, she set out on her way and walked for many, many a day, till she at last came to a big mountain. Close to it, an old woman sat and played with a golden apple. She asked her if she knew the way to the prince who lived with his stepmother in a castle that lay east of the sun and west of the moon, and who was going to marry a princess with a nose 2 yards long. How do you know him? Asked the old woman. Perhaps it was you who should have had him. Yes, it was she. Ah, indeed. Is that you? Said the woman. Well, all I know is that he lives in the castle which lies east of the sun and west of the moon. And thither you will come late or never. But I will lend you my horse, and on him you can ride to my neighbor, an old friend of mine. Perhaps she can tell you when you have got there. When you have got there, just give my horse a blow with your whip under the left ear and ask him to go home again. And you had better take golden apple with you. So she got up on the horse and rode a long, long time, till he at last came to a mountain where an old woman was sitting with a golden trading home. She asked her if she knew the way to the castle which lay east of the sun, west of the moon. She answered like the first woman. She didn't know anything about it, but she was sure to the east of the sun and west of the moon. And thither you will come, early or late, but I will lend you my horse as far as my neighbor. Perhaps she can tell you. When you have got there, you give my horse a blow under the left ear and ask him to go home again. And the old woman gave her the golden trading comb, which might come in useful for her. The young girl got up the horse and rode for a long, weary time, and came at last to a large mountain, where an old woman was sitting and spinning on a golden spinning wheel. She asked her if she knew the way to the prince and where the castle was that lay east of the sun and west of the moon. And so came the same question. Perhaps it is you who should have had the prince. Yes, it was, but the old woman knew the way no better than the other two. In the east of the sun and west of the moon, she knew that, and thither you will come early or late, he said. But I will lend you my horse, and I think you had better ride to the east wind and ask him. Perhaps he is known about those parts, and he will go home again. Oh. Those parts and blow you there. Perhaps he is known about those parts, blow you there. When you have got there, just touch the horse under the ear, he'll go home again. And so she gave her the golden spinning wheel. You might find use for it, said the old woman. She rode on many days for a long, weary time before she got the east wind. But after a long time, it did reach him. And so she asked him, would tell her the way to the prince who lived east of the sun, west of the... Yes, he had heard her tell of the prince, said the east wind, and of the castle too, but he didn't know the way thither, for he had never blown so far. But if you like, I'll go with you, my brother, the west wind. Perhaps he may know of it, for he is much stronger. Just get up on my back and I'll carry you thither. Yes, she did so, and away they went at a great speed. When they got to the west wind, they went to him. The east wind told him Enyan was the one who should have had the prince who lived in the castle which lay east of the sun and west of the moon. She was now on her way to find him again, and so he had gone with her to hear if the west wind knew where the castle was. No, I've never blown so far, the west wind said. But if you like, I'll go with you to the south wind, for he is much stronger than any of us. And he has been far and wide. Perhaps he may tell you. You had better sit up on my back and I'll carry you thither. Well, she got on his back and off they started for the south wind. They weren't long on the way, I can tell you. When they got there, the west wind asked his brother if he could tell him the way to that castle which lay east of the sun and west of the moon. His companion was the one who should have had the prince who lived there. Oh, indeed, said the south wind. Is that she? Well, I have been to many a nook and corner in my time, but so far I have never blown. But if you like, I'll go with you to my brother, the north wind. He is the oldest and strongest of all of us. And if he doesn't know where it is, you will never be able to find any. But if you like, I'll go there with you to my brother, Northwind. Sorry. I've never been there. You will never be able to find anyone who can tell you. Just go up on my back and I'll carry you thither. Yes, she sat up on his back, and away they went, at such a rate that the way didn't seem to be very long. When she got to where the north wind lived, she had a He was so wild and unruly that cold gusts were felt a long way off. "What do you want?" he shouted from far away. But still, it made them shiver all over. "Oh, you needn't be so harsh," said the south wind. "It is I, your own brother. And then I have got her with me, who should have had the prince, who lives in the castle which lies east of the sun and west of the wind. And she wants to ask you if you have ever been there and if you can tell her the way. She is so anxious to find him again." "Well, yes, I do know where it is," said the North Wind. "I once blew an aspen leaf thither, but I was so tired that I wasn't able to blow for many days after. But if you really intend going there, and you are not afraid to come with me, I will take you on my back and try if I can blow so far." Yes, she was willing. She must go thither, if it were possible, one way or another, and she wasn't a bit afraid. Go how it would. "Very well," North Wind said. "You must stop here tonight. You must stop here tonight then. For we must have a whole day before us and prepare more if we are to reach it." Early next morning, the North Wind called, and then he blew himself out and made himself so big and strong that he was terrible to look at. Away they went, high through the air, at such a fearful speed, as if they were going to end the world. There was such an hurricane. On land, the trees and houses were blown down. And when they came out of the big sea, out on the big sea ships, wrecked by hundreds. And onward they swept, so far, far, that no one would believe how far they went. And still farther and farther out to sea, till the North Wind got more and more tired and so knocked up that he was scarcely able to give another blow, and was sinking and going down more and more. And at last they were so low that the tops of the billows touched their heel. "Are you afraid?" said the North Wind. "No," she said. She wasn't a bit afraid. But they were not so very far from land either, and the North Wind had just sufficient strength left to reach the shore and put her off just under the windows of the castle which lay east of the sun, west of the moon. But he was then so tired and worn out that he had to rest for many days before he could start on his way home again. Next morning, he sat down under the castle windows and began playing with the golden apple. And the first one she saw was the princess with the long nose, whom the prince was going to marry. "What do you want for that golden apple of yours?" she asked, and opened the casement. "It's not for sale, neither for gold nor money," said the girl. "If it isn't for sale, for gold or money, what do you want for it then?" said the princess. "I'll give you what you ask. Well, if I tonight may sit in the armchair by the bedside of the prince who lives here, you shall have it," said the girl who came with the North Wind. Yes, she might do that. There would be no difficulty about that. So the princess got the golden apple, but when the girl came up into the prince's bedroom in the evening, he was fast asleep. She called him and shook him, and now and then she cried and wept, but no, she could not wake him up. She might speak to him. Next morning, as soon as the day dawned, the princess with the long nose came and turned her out of the room. Later in the day, she sat down under the castle windows and began cradling with the golden cradling comb. And then the same thing happened again. The princess asked her what she wanted for comb, the cradling comb, and she told her that it wasn't for sale for neither gold nor money, but if she might get leave to sit in the armchair by the prince's bedside that night, she would have it. But when she came up to the bedroom, she found him fast asleep again. And for all she cried and shook him, for all she wept, slept soundly, that she could not get life into him. And when the day dawned in the early morning, in came the princess with the long nose and turned her out of the room again. So, as the day wore on, she sat under the castle windows and began spinning the spinning wheel. And the princess with the long nose wanted also to have. She opened the casement and asked the girl what she wanted for it. The girl told her, as she had done twice before, that it was not for sale either for gold or money, but if she might sit in the armchair by the prince's bedside at night, she could have it. Yes, she might do that, but there were some Christian people who had been carried off and were imprisoned in the room next to the princess, and they had heard that some woman had been in the room and wept and cried and called his name 2 nights running. And this they told the prince. In the evening, when the prince came and brought him his drink, the princess came and brought him his drink. He made appear that he drank, but he threw it over his shoulder, for he felt sure she had put a sleeping draught on his drink. So when the girl came into the room that night, she found the prince wide awake, and then she told him how she had come here. "You have just come in time," said the prince, "for tomorrow I was to marry the princess. But I won't have the long nose, and you are the only one that can save me. I will say that I shall want to see what my bride can do, and if she is fit to be my wife, then I will ask her to wash the shirt with the 3 tallow stains on. She will try, for she does not know that it is you who dropped the tallow on the shirt, but that can only be done by Christian folks, and not by a pack of trolls I have in this place. And so I will say that I will not have anyone else for a bride except the one who can wash the shirt clean, and I know you can do that." And they felt very glad and happy, and they went on talking all night about the joyful time in store for them. The next day, when the wedding was to take place, the prince said, "I think I must see first what my bride can do." "Yes, quite so," said the stepmother. "I've got a very fine shirt, which I'm going to use for my wedding shirt, but There are 3 tallow stains on it, which I want washed out. And I have made a vow that I will not take any other woman for a wife, the one who is able to do that. If she cannot do that, she is not worth having, said the prince. Well, it's easy enough, said the stepmother, and agreed to this trial. Well, the princess, with her long nose, set to washing the best she could, but the more she washed, the bigger grew the stains. Why, you cannot wash, said the old witch, the stepmother. Let me try. But no sooner did she take the shirt that it got still worse. The more she washed and rubbed, the bigger and blacker stains grew. So did the other trolls try their hands at washing, but the longer they worked at it, the dirtier the shirt grew. Till at last, it looked as if it had been up the chimney. Ah, you're not worth anything, a whole lot of you, said the prince. There's a poor girl under the window just outside here, and I'm sure she can wash much better than any of you. Come in, my girl, he shouted it to her. Yes, she would come in. Can you wash the shirt clean? Asked the prince. Well, I don't know, she said. I will try. And no sooner had she taken the shirt and dipped it in the water than it was as white as Griffin's, if not whiter. Yes, you shall be my wife, said the prince. But the old witch flew into such a rage that she burst, and the princess with the long nose and all the trolls must have burst also. For I never heard of them since. The prince and his bride then set free all the people who had been carried off and imprisoned there. So they took much gold and silver with them as they could carry, and moved far away from the castle which lay east of the sun and west of the moon. So, that was the first tale, east of the sun and west of the moon. Quite interesting tale. I gotta be honest, I'm struggling a bit to catch the moral of the story. But still. And hello Panda and Heidi, if you're still here. Happy to have you here. I hope you two are doing fine. Just the information for anyone who might have come while I was reading. I'm only answering to like chat and everything in between stories, because I don't wanna break the flow more than I already do with like me skipping over words accidentally or messing up the pronunciation. Sorry about that, by the way. Have a little drink of water. I think this was a Nordic tale, was a tale from I think, because I'm quite curious, we go away from tales for a little bit. I also want to read something from the Mythopedia. I think the moral is that true love overcome all odds. Yeah, I mean, sure, but the whole story basically started with her not heeding his warning. Back then, the prince, when he was the white bear, he told her to be careful and not listen to the advice her mother gave her, or else they both would be unhappy. if she would have listened to him, this whole thing would have happened. The moral of the story is always trust the white bear. I mean, yeah, of course, at the end it's definitely she overcame it. She definitely went far and wide for it, considering that she traveled in all directions, all winds, and apparently wrecked quite a lot of houses on the because her travel caused her or turned into a typhoon or hurricane, not a typhoon. Excuse me. When she rode the north wind, so I'm not sure if this is a good like lay waste to everything just to get with the one you love because you messed up. There won't be much of a story either, I suppose. Why must us human learn the hard way? I mean, that's a fair point. I mean, I gotta give it to her. She messed up and she tried her best and succeeded in doing it right. Even though one could argue that it's quite superficial because he looked very handsome. Which I don't know. As much as I personally prefer good looks on other people, it's not worth risking something like this. But that's just my opinion. Just my humble opinion. What do I know? We're gonna read a bit from about a few mythical beasts, like it's a little breakup. The book is called Good Wives and Warriors Mythopedia, Encyclopedia of Mythical Beasts and Their Magical Tales. The author is? I was like to okay, who the author of this book, sir. Give me a bit of credit. It's a book from Great Britain. It's by Anna Claiborne. Sounds quite British. So as I said before, in this book we have basically sorted different continents. With Americas, Europe, Africa, Asia and Oceania. We have different creatures here, sorted by honestly, it's quite a shame that I cannot show it because it's very, very colorful. Very nice illustrations here. And I think this is also like a mix of tales and a bit of explanation of those creatures, which is kind of interesting, I think. We give it a try. Let's see how well it is going for us. Just thinking, are there like any preferences in terms of continent? Like we have all the continents despite except Antarctica. Oh, it's like, yeah, I'm also not aware of any particular tales of Antarctica, at least not old ones. Only the ones of people that get lost there. Have here different. It looks like Aztec and Mayan for the Americas. Europe is a lot of more well known, like the Pegasus, Cerberus, and Kraken, the Fenris. In Asia we have the Yeti, a few Japanese with the Tanuki, with a few Chinese ones like Shenlong. And in Oceania we have the Pidalik, Abia, and the Rainbow Serpent. Quite many actually from Oceania. I assume those are Maori and generally the Maori people and the Polynesians. And maybe, or the Aborigines. The Aboriginals also possible. Other than that, personally, I quite like the Fenris wolf. Maybe we're gonna start with this. Also, but also Quetzalcoatl, like I think it's an Aztec god. Interesting. Also a very beautiful map here. Options. I think we're gonna start with the Fenris Wall. No preference on content here. One last thing about the first story. Times when marriages was more about survival or of anything. Maybe the superficial appearance factor might be all they had to hope for beyond reality. That's actually like a good take on it. Highly possible. By now, luckily, most people are not forced to marry a certain. It still does happen, fortunately, but it's not way too much. But let's go with the Fenrir. I'd like. Visions are really, really pretty. I really wish I could show. Now you can see there. I said is a little tail attached to every creature and a bit of an explanation or story. Compared to the last story, it will definitely be shorter, but we can make like a few of them, like a bit of in between stuff. So, those who don't know the Fenrir Wolf, it's I'm just gonna talk a bit about it before I start reading it, just to see if my knowledge is correct about this. The Fenrir Wolf is basically a monstrous wolf who continues to grow. He is the son of Loki, the trickster god, which is, I think, also a troll, technically, which was accepted into the ranks of the gods of Asgard. And I think it was Tyr who sacrificed his hand in order so they could chain Fenrir, like the Fenris. And when it's time for Ragnarok, so the end of the world, according to the mythology, he will kill Odin and I think wound Thor, as far as I'm aware. Yeah, he's basically growing constantly, chained up in Asgard until the day of Ragnarok, where he will fight and die after killing Odin. Oh yeah, and basically I said Fenrir is Loki's son, but Loki is not the father of Fenrir, he's the mother of Fenrir, if I remember correctly. No, or is he the father? No, Loki is the mother of Sleipnir, of the eight-legged horse. No, I think he's the father of Fenrir. It's... Nordic mythology is it's like quite a mess. If you look about this, they don't give much a crap about like gender identity in this case. You know, you can be like the father of this one, but birth another one. It doesn't matter. Kind of progressive if you really think about it. But anyway, so we have the Fenrir, monstrous wolf of Asgard, land of the gods. Fenrir is one of the most terrifying creatures in all of Norse mythology. He's a giant, ferocious wolf with enormous razor sharp in his huge slobbering jaws, and his claws like steel blades. Even the strongest and bravest of them, nervous, they see Fenrir, and not just because of ferocious bite. Fenrir, no ordinary wolf, father Loki, a troublemaking trickster god, and his mother, giantess Angborda. A terrible prophecy foretold that Fenrir would one day devour Odin, the king of the gods, swallow the sun itself, when Ragnarok, the end of the world, finally arrived. Hoping to avoid this fate, the gods decide to bring Fenrir to live with them in their homeland. Asgard. Raise him themselves. Keep a close eye on it. I must say, this is quite a stupid idea. I think they tried to kill him and didn't manage it. Not quite sure. But I still don't get why they basically lock him right next to the house, to like their door. It seems extremely risky. Like, put him at least somewhere a bit farther away. Maybe like give 1 or 2 people the command to watch over him. Yeah, keep your friends close and your enemies close. Backfired horribly. Like, especially when they were all scared of him. I understand, like, keep your enemies close, but it's still, under those circumstances, if they apparently knew this will happen, I mean, maybe they could have asked the dwarves to create something that could finish the Fenrir. They're creative bunch, especially in the Nordic mythology. And they created also Mjolnir and basically like most things. Didn't they also create like a ship that could shrink down to fit in one's pocket or something like this? But they were definitely like a very talented and crafty bunch. They might have definitely figured something out to at least incapacitate him indefinitely. But I think the chains with which the Fenrir was held down were also forged by the dwarves. Not sure on that one though. There's a continuation though. Fenrir in chain. When the Fenrir first came to Asgard, he was a little more than a wolf pup. But he was still so fierce that only Tyr, the bravest god of justice, dared to feed him. The gods soon noticed that the wolf was growing at an alarming rate. Okay, why did they even feed? Like, this is the next question. If they knew how dangerous it was, why did they feed him? Would they like have him starve? Wouldn't this weaken him? I mean, of course, he could go into a rage and try to eat someone. Barely possible. But I mean, especially when he still was a little cub. It seems quite idiotic. But who am I? I'm not one of the ancient gods. So maybe this was the best option. Personally, I doubt it, but this is like a bit of similar to people on the internet claiming, "Oh yeah, I could do that," despite them just sitting on their butts all day. So but for people, for like the gods, for the Asgardians, I mean, I think they could have figured out a way to keep it in check better. But I don't know. Before long, he would be too big to control. They needed a way to restrain Fenrir, to make sure it would not cause trouble. So they forged a set of massive metal chains, so heavy that even Thor, the mighty god of thunder, barely lifted. Then the gods called, "Fenrir, will you come here? Help us." The wolf ran over. "We must need to see how strong these chains are," Thor said. "You must be the strongest creature in Asgard. Will you test them? See if you can break free." Fenrir liked the challenge. Without Thor. Then, with the most and almost effortless stretch, he broke free, snapping the battle easy. Like, this is the next point. They managed to coax him into like wearing like to getting chained up. They just said, "Hey, dude, challenge you. Bet you never can break him. So the Fenrir somewhat trusted them. He was ferocious, but you know, it's not like he was, at this point at least, a ferocious monster that nobody could control or coax things into them. Could definitely have worked it out. I don't think they could have tamed him, definitely. I think for this he was too ferocious and he would definitely go out of control at some point. But I mean, they could definitely have used this better to their advantage. This is like a perfect example of just, you know, let future you deal with it, I think. But then again, what do I do? The gods were dismayed to discover just how strong Fenrir was. They went back to the workshop and built an even bigger set of chains. So heavy that it took several gods to lift them. Again they called the Fenrir, bound towards them. We think this might be the strongest chain in the world, was said. Will you help us test them again? Fenrir agreed. So the gods tied him up, confident the huge chain would restrain him. They were wrong. Within a few moments, the wolf had broken free. That time, Odin himself had a plan. He sent a messenger to Svartalfheim, home of the elves, to ask them to make an unbreakable chain. A few days later, they sent back the handiwork, but it was nothing more than a silky ribbon. The elves explained that this chain, called Gleipnir, was made from 6 ingredients. The sound of a cat's footstep, the roots of a mountain, the beard of a woman, the sinews of a bear, the breath of a fish, and the spittle of a bird. Since these things were impossible to tame, Gleipnir would be impossible to break. Which, I mean, elves are magic. They come up with the most interesting and sometimes weirdest things, and that still work somehow. Again, let's ask Fenrir to test the new chain. But when he saw the fine ribbon, he was suspicious. If that ribbon is strong enough to hold me, he said, there must be magic in it. Are you trying to trick me? No. We promise, said Odin. And if this ribbon can hold you, then we'll know you're not a danger, and we'll set you free. I'll do it on one condition, said Fenrir. One of you must put your hand in my mouth while I test it. Gods looked at one another. They knew that if Fenrir were trapped, they would bite the hand off. Brave Tyr stepped forward, put his hand in the wolf's massive jaw. Then the gods hid. Fenrir flexed his muscles, thinking the ribbon would break, but it didn't. He kicked and strained and pulled, but Gleipnir just grew stronger, tighter. Growling in anger, Fenrir bit Tyr's hand off at the wrist, screamed at pain. But to everyone's relief, the wolf finally held free. For now, at least. Yep. Okay. Yeah, I definitely remember those ingredients for this ribbon. I don't remember that it was a thin ribbon. I didn't remember that fact. But I still think even under these conditions, I mean, I'm always like the guy, make the strongest people your friends and trust you so you don't get in trouble later on. Because it's better to have the strongest on your side than to try to contain the strongest until they're so strong that they can't be contained anymore. Granted, it might be a bit naive. I'm absolutely aware of it, but I don't know. It definitely there definitely would have been a better way to handle the situation. Excuse me. As I said before, I'm a bit tired today, so we do more of a relaxing. What do we have here still? I think I want to read about the Yeti. Kind of fun. Back. I kind of forgot that the Yeti, because it's under the Asia section, I always forget, since it's probably because it's so prevalent in like Western media, that the Yeti is in the Himalayas, not in like, I don't know, the Appalachians or like the Alps. No, it's in the Himalaya. Like in Nepal, Bhutan, India, China. But I'm not sure exactly which part he's supposed to be, but I guess in all of them, maybe. Maybe he's a wanderer. I don't think he cares about the borders, really. Not sure. I've never met the Yeti. Or a Yeti. Also not entirely sure. Is there only one Yeti, or is this like a population? Never know. I know there's, in North America, there's the Sasquatch, which is basically, or Bigfoot, which is basically the Yeti in not cold areas, you could say. But I don't know. The Yeti, hairy and humanoid creature of the snowy Himalayas. The Yeti is one of the best known legendary creatures, yet also one of the most mysterious. A tall, strong, shaggy-haired, human-shaped beast, said to live on the snowy slopes of the Himalayan mountain, Central Asia. Yeti is found in ancient folk tales and reported sightings of it date back more than 1,000 years. Some local legends describe it as a dangerous monster. It's humans, and with anyone who has seen it weak, helpless. Others say it's a helpful spirit who guards the mountain, scaring away evil, glowing eyes, and blood-curdling shriek. Many explorers journeyed the Himalayas in search of the Yeti. Some have claimed to see it for themselves, others giant foot, or seen skulls, fur, or even droppings dead of the Yeti. Some think the Yeti is really a type of bear. Bears can have very big feet, and some are known to stand upright, hind legs, like humans. Or it might be a type of giant ape, long thought to be extinct, but surviving in the remote mountain. The high Himalayas are so hard to explore that we may never truly know the Yeti really, really out there. It's also an interesting squeak. Oh god, gotta oil my chair or something. Don't know if you can hear it squeaking, but I think you can. It's actually kind of interesting to think about the idea that there might be the Yeti somewhere, or like there's like a giant ape or bear that is always confused for the Yeti, that is still out there. I mean, I think it's not the first time that a potentially mythological creature, people find out that it's actually a real thing. I think it was similar with the Kraken until they didn't know that giant octopus existed. Or now octopus is something else. Like it's like a giant calmar. Giant squid. Giant squids. So I could potentially think that like maybe a bear. I'm not sure about a giant ape. And I mean, if this book is to be believed, the Himalayas are very hard to explore, which I personally cannot, of course, verify. I've never been to the Himalayas yet, but oh, kind of would be kind of cool. Maybe we discover, like in a few years, we discover a population of like bears or giant apes that we call Yeti, because it's basically what we always call those creatures, unintentionally. I don't know. I don't know. But there's one more creature I wanted to read about. This book. And I think we're gonna hop over to another tale. I think that we're gonna wrap up. Because I already mentioned it, I wanted to read about the Kraken. The Kraken, known probably for most media by now, giant octopus basically, that sinks ships, and I think is most commonly associated with the North and Arctic Sea, or like North Atlantic in general. It's not something you find like in the Mediterranean. No, I think. Could be wrong. Could be wrong. Yeah. The many-tentacled monster of the deep, the Kraken. Since medieval times, fishermen and sailors told stories of a gargantuous, deadly sea creature, terrifying Kraken. The monstrous beast, said to roam the seas between Iceland and Norway, has a huge head, enormous eyes, and long, sucker-covered tentacles, similar to an octopus or squid. But many times the size. Some say the length of 10 ships. Others say it's over a mile long. That's 2 kilometers in modern measurement. Is it like another mile as used in the Americas? Or is just the author like taking a jab at it? But I think like a normal mile is 1.3, 1.4 kilometers. Not sure. I don't think 1 mile is close to a kilometer. Like close to 2 kilometers. Not sure. I've honestly, I tried. At one point, I tried remembering the imperial measurements just out of fun, just to know them. But no, I only know that 32 degrees Fahrenheit is 0 degrees Celsius. I think 1 mile is 1.6 kilometers. We'll check. Yeah, I think that's something like between 1.3 and 1.6. But you know, at least here where I come from, you do not need miles. Absolutely no idea. We sometimes use inches for like the measurement of screens, like of TV screens or computer screens, because this is kind of Americanized that we use the diagonal. We still say inches. 1.609 kilometers. Okay, yeah, so thank you for checking, Sefir. So yeah, it's not 2 kilometers. It's probably would be better at 1.5 kilometers, but I'm not enough. For maybe like the miles back then in medieval times were longer, because I do vividly remember, I do remember that the French inch was bigger than the English inch. And that's also where the conspiracy, the misinformation that Napoleon was short came from. Because he, of course, was always measured in French inches, which were bigger than English inches. So if you just read, oh, he was so and so many inches, it was French inches and not British inches. And the Brits, of course, they probably knew this, but use it as a sort of propaganda. Because, oh, look at the tiny Frenchman. The Kraken is said to spend most of its time at the bottom of the ocean, where it devours its favorite food, large shoals of fish. But once in a while, it ventures to the sea surface. If disturbed by a passing ship, it wraps its tentacles right around, and drags the ship beneath the waves, drowning everyone on board. You learn something new every day. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I learned, for example, today I learned that tomorrow on the 28th of February is apparently the so-called Rare Disease Day. Basically like a day in honor of diseases that are very, very rare. I think like 1 in 2,000 it was. Not entirely sure. But yeah, you learn something new every day. Question is if you remember it like a couple days later. But yeah, I have like a tendency to remember like facts about like this with Napoleon. I have a tendency to remember those kind of facts. They're kind of stuck in me. Often thought, the Kraken simply snoozes, floating peacefully in the water. As they pass by, seafarers sometimes mistake a barnacle-covered bulk for a small island. They go ashore to explore and perhaps set up camp. But if they make the mistake of lighting a campfire, the creature will surely wake up, roaring in pain, and it will plunge down to the depths, creating a powerful whirlpool that sucks sailors and the ships to the waves with. Quite interesting. I did not know that part of the Kraken tail. And sometimes basically like snoozes and his head pops out of the water, which looks like an island. Also quite interesting. Would be like also probably a great thing for like D&D campaign or like some sort of pen and paper campaign. You are on the head of a giant Kraken. Could probably get out a like a cool one shot or something. I'm not sure. We have like what the I think this is a somewhat shorter tale. Pages. So we're gonna read a Celtic tale now. Book is like from similar same publisher as the one from the Nordic Tales. The Celtic Tales from Fairy Tales and Stories of Enchantment from Ireland, Scotland, Brittany, and Wales. By Kate Forrester. Or at least illustrate better. And the tale now is from Ireland, and it's called Master and Man. Kind of a shorter one. It's under the category of trickster. There's probably some trickster there. Like there's an illustration of a giant man handing a big cup of steaming beverage to a very small man. Whatever that means. I don't know. The small man looks smaller than a normal man by the proportions, so maybe it's like about dwarfs or gnomes or something. Not entirely sure, but gonna read. And as always, this is a bit of a longer tale again, so I will not stop in between unless, like, I don't know, the alert happens or something. And I will probably not really look at chat. So, little sip of water. So, the posture checking here. So, Master and Man. Billy McDaniel was once a good-natured young man. As ever shook his brought a festival, emptied a quart, or handled a slaylock. He feared for nothing, but he wanted to drink. Cared for nothing, should pay for it, and thought of nothing but how to make fun over it. Drunk or sober, a word and a blow was ever the way with Billy McDaniel. And a mighty easy way it is of either getting into or ending a dispute. More the pity that through his fearing and caring, thinking for nothing but drink, the same Billy McDaniel fell into bad company. For surely the fairies are the worst of all company anyone come across. It so happened that Billy was going home one clear frosty night, not long after Christmas. The moon was round and bright, but although it was as fine a night as a heart could wish for, it felt a pinch of cold. Then it felt pinched with cold. By my word, charted Billy, a drop of good liquor would be no bad thing to keep a man's soul from freezing in him, and I wish I had a full measure of the best. Never wish twice, Billy, said a voice right beside him. He looked down and saw a little man in a three-cornered hat, bound all with gold lace and great silver buckles in his shoe, which were so big that it was a wonder he could wear them. He held out a glass as big as himself, filled with as good liquor as ever I looked on or lip tasted. Success, my little fellow, said Billy McDaniel. Nothing daunted. For well he knew that the little man belonged to the good people. Here's to your health, and thank you kindly. And he took the glass and drained it to the very bottom without ever taking a second breath of it. Success, said the little man. And you are heartily welcome, Billy. But don't think to cheat me as you have done others. Out with your purse and pay me like a gentleman. Is it I pay you? Said Billy. Could I not take you up and put you in my pocket as easily as a blackberry? Billy McDaniel, said the little man, getting very angry. You shall be my servant for 7 years and a day. And that is the way I will be paid. So make ready to follow me. When Billy heard this, he began to be very sorry for having used such bold words towards the little man. Yet, without knowing why, he felt himself obliged to follow the little man about the country the whole night, up and down over hedge and ditch, and through the bog and brake without any rest. When morning began to dawn, the little man turned to him and said, "You may go home, Billy, but on your peril, don't fail to meet me in the fourth field tonight, or it may be the worse for you in the long run. If I find you a good servant, you will find me an indulgent master." Home went Billy McDaniel, and thought he was tired and weary enough, and stayed in bed all the day. He couldn't get a wink of sleep for thinking of the little man. He was afraid not to do his bidding, so up he got in the evening and went away, and away he went to Ford Field. It was not long before the little man arrived and said, "Billy, I want to go on a long journey tonight. So saddle one of my horses, and you may saddle another one for yourself, as you are to go along with me, and may be tired after your walk last night." Billy thought this very considerate. Master thanked him accordingly. "But," he said, "if I may be so bold, sir, I would ask which is the way to your stable, for never a thing do I see but the old fort here, the old thorn tree, the corner of the field, stream running at the bottom of the hill, and the bit of bog beside it, rushes growing in." "Ask no questions, Billy," said the little man, "but go over that bit of bog and bring me 2 of the strongest rushes you can find." Billy did accordingly, wondering what the little man would be at. He picked 2 of the stoutest rushes he could find, brought them back to his master. "Get up, Billy," said the little man. "Take one of the rushes from him and stride it across it." "Where shall I get up, please?" said Billy. "Why, up on horseback, like me, be sure," said the little man. "Is it after making a fool of me you'd be?" said Billy. "Bidding me get on horseback upon that bit of a rush. Maybe you want to persuade me that the rush I pulled a minute ago out of the bog over there. Horse. Up, up, and no word," said the little man, looking very angry. "The best horse you ever rode was but a fool next to this." So Billy, thinking all this was a joke, but fearing to vex his master, rattled across the rush. "Baroom, baroom, baroom," cried the little man suddenly. Immediately, the rushes swelled up, fine horses, and away they went at full speed. But Billy had put the rush between his legs without much minding how he did it, found himself sitting on horseback the wrong way, which was rather awkward, his face to the horse's tail. So quickly had his steed started off with him, that he had no power to turn around, and there was therefore nothing for it to hold on by the tail. At last they came to their journey's end, stopped at the gates of the house. "Now, Billy," said the little man, "do as you see me do, and follow me close. But as you did not know your horse's head from its tail, mind that your own head does not spin round until you can't tell whether you are standing on it or on your heels. For remember that old liquor, through it can make a cat speak, can make a man dumb." The little man then said some queer kind of words, out of which Billy could make no meaning. but he managed to say the words away, and as soon as he did, he felt himself flying alongside the little man. Through he didn't know how, in through the keyhole door, and through one keyhole after another, till they reached the wine cellar, which was well stored with all kinds of wine. The little man fell drink the little man fell to drinking as hard as he could, and Billy, in no way disliking the example, did the same. The best of masters are you, surely, said Billy to him, and I will be pleased to be in your service if you continue to give me plenty to drink. I've made no bargain with you, said the little man, and will make none. Get up, but get up and follow me now. Away they went again, through the keyhole after keyhole, and each mounted upon the rush which he had left at the hall door, and they scrambled off, kicking the clouds before them like snowballs, as soon as the words "Baroom, baroom, baroom" had passed the lips. When they came back to the fort field, the little man dismissed Billy, bidding him to be there next night at the same hour. Thus did they go on, night after night, shaping their course one night here and another night there, sometimes north, sometimes east, sometimes south, sometimes west, until there was not a gentleman's wine cellar in all Ireland they had not visited. And they could tell the flavor of every wine in every cellar as well or better than the butler himself. One night, when Billy McDaniel met the little man as usual at the fort field and was going to the bog to fetch the horses for the journey, his master said to him, "Billy, I shall want another horse tonight, for maybe we will bring back more company than we can take." So Billy, who now knew better than to ask any question, any order given to him, his master brought a third rush, wondering who it might be would be traveled back in their company, and whether he was about with a fellow servant. If it is another servant, thought Billy, we shall go and fetch the horse from the bog every night, for I don't see why I am not every inch of me good a gentleman, master. Well, away they went, Billy leading the third horse, and never stopped until they came to a snug farmer's house in the county of Limerick. Within the house there was great carousing, and the little man stopped outside for some time to listen. Then turning round, all of a sudden, said, "Billy, I will be 1,000 years old tomorrow." "Oh, bless us, sir," Billy said, surprised. "You?" "Don't say those words again, Billy," said the little old man, "or you will be my ruin forever. Now, as I will be 1,000 years in the world tomorrow, I think it is full time for me to get married." "I think so too, without any kind of doubt at all," said Billy. "Ever you mean to marry." "And to that purpose," said the little man, "I come all the way to this house. For in this house, this very night, is young Darby Riley going to be married to Bridget Rooney. And this Bridget is a tall and comely girl. Has come decent people. I think of marrying her myself, taking her with me." "And what about Darby Riley? Say to that, Billy." "Silence!" the little man, putting on a mighty severe look. I did not bring you here with me to ask questions. Without holding further argument, he began saying the queer words, which had the power of passing him through keyholes as free as air, and which Billy thought himself mighty clever to be able to say after him. Into the house they both went, and up to the rafters, for the better viewing of the company, and to keep out of sight. The little man perched himself up as nimbly as a sparrow, one of the big beams, which went across the house, over the land, over the heads of the guests. And Billy did the same upon another facing. But as he was not much accustomed to roosting in such a place, his legs hung down, untidy as may be, while the little man sat contentedly on his haunches. There they sat, both master and man, looking down upon the fun that was going forward. Under them were the priest and the piper, the father of Darby Riley and Darby's two brothers, the father and the mother, Richard Rooney and their four sisters, with brand new ribbons in their caps, and the three brothers, all looking clean and as clever as any three boys in Munster, and enough uncles and aunts and cousins besides to make a full house of it. And on the table, plenty to eat and drink for every one of the guests, as if they had been double the number. Now, just as Mrs. Rooney helping the priest the first cut the pig's head, Billy saw his master take a little leather pouch from his pocket and reaching into it, pulling out a pinch of some powder, sprinkled down upon the table right in front of the bride. At that, the bride gave a sneeze. It made everyone at the table start, but not a soul said, "God bless us." All the guests thought that the priest would have done so. It was his duty, and no one wished to take the word out of his mouth, with, unfortunately, was preoccupied with pig's head green. After a moment's pause, and the fun and merriment, the bridal feast went on without pious benediction. Both Billy and Master noticed happened from the stationed high up in the rafters. "Ah!" exclaimed the little man, and his eyes twinkled. Strange light. "Ah!" he said, leering down at the bride. "Have her, half of her now, surely. Let her sneeze but twice more, and she is mine." Again, he sprinkled a bit of the mysterious powder down upon the table, and again, fair Bridget, but she did it so gently, blushing with embarrassment, that few except the little man and Billy, seemed to take any notice, and no one thought, saying, "God bless us." Billy all the time was regarding the poor girl with most rueful expression, for he could not help thinking what a terrible thing it was for a nice young girl of 19 with large blue eyes, transparent skin, and dimpled cheeks, suffused with health and joy, to be obliged to marry an ugly little bit of a man who was 1,000 years old, barring a day. At this critical moment, the bride gave bird's knees, and Billy roared out, all his might, all his might, God bless us. Whether this exclamation resulted from his thoughts about marriage or from the mere force of habit, he never could tell exactly. But no sooner was it uttered than the little man, his face glowing with rage and disappointment, sprung up from the beam on which he had perched himself, shrieked out in a shrill voice like a cracked bagpipe. I discharge you from my service, Billy McDaniel. Take that for your wages. And he gave poor Billy a most ferocious kick in the back, which sent his unfortunate servant crawling upon his face right in the middle of the supper table. If Billy was astonished, how much more so was everyone in the company to which he was thrown with so little ceremony. But when he had told his story, the priest laid down his knife and fork, married the young couple all speed, and Billy McDaniel danced and drank, feasted, heart's content, their wedding. And why? I feel. Thank you for the follow, wife. Horribly, I'm terribly sorry. Oh, I think I got it. Yeah. Thank you very much for the follow. Nice to have you here. And yeah, it's the end of the story. For one, it was not a story about romance directly. I mean, technically there was a bit of romance with marriage that was going on, but kind of cool, actually. Guy who did misdeeds because he was always drunk. Then he fell under a short man with a short fuse, you could say. Very grumpy fella, it seems. And movie playing games, thank you for the raid. Thank you. Welcome raiders. Hello, hello, hello. How are you all doing? You just missed the last tale. I hope you had a nice stream. What did you stream? Was just reading a tale about a man who was a servant to a little angry man because he drank too much, and then he saved the girls from marrying the little man. Remnant 2. I think I played the first Remnant before. But let me just check real quick so that I don't spout any nonsense. I wanted to play it, I never played it. Mulan 2. I mean, it's not that far off, I guess. It was a tale from Ireland, so it was, you could say it was Irish Mulan. But no, it was the story of Billy McDaniel, probably one of the most Irish names I've heard in quite some time. And yeah, I was thinking, maybe. Oh yeah, completely forgot. I slipped completely my mind. I haven't really introduced myself to the raiders. So for everyone who came by and doesn't know me, my name is LuxTaleor. I'm a wandering tale teller. That's exactly why we're gonna read tales today. Normally I play different games, mostly fantasy or RPG games. And yeah, today you're catching me live as I do some actual tale telling, and I just noticed something. This was the wrong scene. Why do I only just notice this now? What the fluff? Uh, wait, I'm a. Feel like only half a body, so it's better. Hello, hello, hello. Thanks for the first chat and for the follow earlier. I'm quite certain. I'm quite certain I know who you are. It's just a hunch, though. Thank you very much for the follow. You were here earlier. I hope you enjoyed the stories. I think we're gonna like mostly talk a little bit now, and I mean I still have the mythopedia, so the encyclopedia of mythical beasts right in front of me. Maybe I'm gonna read a few excerpts out of this. Anyway, gotta go to sleep. Well, sleep is important. Have a nice sleep. Thanks once again for the raid. I really, really appreciate it. And yeah, hope you have nice dreams. And thank you for the follow. Thank you very much. I think we're gonna have like a little small tales because my throat actually kind of starts hurting after 2 hours of reading. What's like an interesting tale we could talk that we can read? I'm feeling like an African. How about we do an African tale? Quite interesting. Don't know that many, except the Egyptian ones, of course. There's also one about Anubis, but I think because it just sounds funny, we read about Nyami Nyami. It's actually written twice. Nyami Nyami. I don't know what this is. I've never heard of this. Gonna check it out really quick. Oh god, big spider here. Ah, there it is. The Nyami Nyami, a powerful river god of the Zambezi. I think this is like Zambezi. I think is from Zanzibar. I'm not entirely sure. It could be another tribe. Also, hi Lux, it's been a while since I visited your stream, so I decided to recommend you to for a raid to Mumi. Oh, so it was you. How have you been, Merwell? It's been a while. Like the last time was when I in Witcher, I think. That was in the old apartment back then, so it's been almost a month. Hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for recommending to raid me. Really, really appreciate it. Yeah. Hope you're doing well. Sorry, my throat is actually getting kind of sore by now. I'm gonna read at least one more tale. At least a small tale. I got a few raiders. It would feel wrong otherwise. We have my throat is suffering too. Oh no, you're sick. Like right now there are a lot of people sick. My throat is only suffering from reading so much, so. But can't swallow water without hurting. Oh my god, that really sucks. Like, I'm also quite sensitive when it comes to, let's call it throat-related illnesses. I can absolutely understand what you mean. Like, best thing I can recommend is try to drink warm stuff, soups, tea with honey. It's the basics really. Try to keep a high moisture content, high humidity level in the air in the rooms you are. Also helps soothing it a little bit. Also like a hot shower or something. I drank 4 cups today. It does help. Okay, that's good. Yeah, it's right now, at least where I live, there are a lot of yeah, 4 cups of tea. I imagine. I hope you didn't drink 4 cups of something else. 4 cups of nails. Just kidding. Yeah, like something's going around where I live too, so a lot of people are sick right now. And I also see like when I go out, like public transport or something, I see a lot of people wearing masks or like at least scarves over their head, over their noses and mouth. So There's definitely something going around, and probably everywhere right now, because we are exactly at the time where the cold starts to get away, so the spring is upon us, but it's not quite there yet, and a lot of people are getting more sick than they should, I assume. I myself am a bit guilty of that, because up until Tuesday I was sick too, with not with like a flu or something. Like I had a stomach and an ear infection, which probably result of stress from moving and other stuff. But yeah. Also gotta congratulate you on affiliate, even if a bit late. Thank you so much. Honestly, it's still a bit of astonishing to me. I'm actually quite happy that I finally got it. I'm still absolutely no idea how this works with the ads. I set it up so I should get notifications for the ads, but I never got any. I don't know exactly how it works with ads. Maybe I have to look into that. I hope it's not too much or annoying or anything. Like my main worry here. I haven't really gotten around to look into that much, because honestly I turned it down as far as I could, because I don't really care that much how would I earn billions. I just like to stream, really. I like the fact that I now can make emotes. Actually, some emotes will be coming soon. Very excited. I got the confirmation that it will be probably ready in the latest 2 weeks, so maybe if we're extremely lucky we get the first emotes next week already, but I think like in 2 weeks, like in the mid of March, we have our first emotes going up. I will make some for follows, so that you don't need to subscribe for getting emotes at all. It feels kind of mean. Yeah. Very exciting though for me. Honestly, never thought I'd get that far. Let me read a little story about the Nayami Nayama. I have no idea how to pronounce it. The powerful river god of the Zambezi. In the southeast Africa, the mighty Zambezi River flows between the lands of Zambia and Zanzibar, Zambia and Zimbabwe. The local Tonga people who live along the shores of the Zambezi have always paid respect to the great Nayami Nayami, the god of the river. He is sometimes described as a giant serpent with a head of a fierce, sharp fish. Others say he's more like a huge water dragon, or a spiral-shaped creature resembling a whirlwind. They say snake-like body, at least 3 meters thick, the height single-story house, but all long he is, no one ever dared to guess. Along with his wife, another water monster, Nayami Nayami, rows the Zambezi, guarding its wildlife and controlling the water. Long ago, he was said to dwell in a deep gorge of a rock named Kariba, meaning trap. Anyone who paddled their canoe too close would be sucked underwater, never returned. And the river god was angry he would cause storms. But he also helped the Tonga people, providing them with food. After a dam was built across the river many years ago, Nayami Nayami's deep valley formed the lake, and Ariva, the rock marking his home, submerged. Some say still swims around the lake to this day. shaking his tail with a loud rumble, making the damn riverbeds tremble. As I said before, it's quite sad that I cannot show you those illustrations. They're quite cool. Like a huge orange serpent with, as described, with a sharp toothed fish head. Very, very cool. But I think actually we really have to wrap up soon. Because as I said, my throat is actually starting to hurt a little bit. From all this talking. From all this yapping, from all this reading. Not that I don't enjoy it. I'm not used to so much talking just yet. That the guy who had like a 5-hour streams on Saturday, so... Yeah, maybe I'm just too exhausted, I don't know. My throat hurts and I shouldn't push myself. Seem to be able to talk after all next stream. But yeah. I think we are gonna finish up for now. Thank you all so much, as always, for coming by. Hope you enjoyed it. And I think over to a very, very good friend of mine, Red Panda, who, I mean, I think he was streaming Warhammer 40k before, but I think that he's playing Stranded Alien Dawn. I have no idea what this game is. That's a very, very nice guy. Say hi from him to me. And I hope to see you all next stream on Saturday, which will probably be Octopath Traveler. Not entirely sure it, but it probably will be Octopath Traveler again. It's like the Saturday game by now. Or maybe... Don't Monster Hunter release tomorrow? Maybe I will stream that. Not sure yet. I'm not sure yet. But anyway. The Raiders... So you only had to... So only you continue to raid with you in the next stream. I hope it's fine for you. I mean, yeah... Hina basically, like... Hina basically forced me to start it. I don't mind it. I wanted to start Monster Hunter like the other games before too, but I never got around to it. Never knew any people that played it really, so... But I'll probably at least give it a try. Nothing better to do anyway. And I will see. Maybe I like it. Maybe I continue streaming that. Maybe it's a one-off stream. I don't know. I don't know it. I definitely want to give it a try. Nothing else. I've just per warning before. I have no clue about the game. I mean, I know what's like the basic gist of it, but I've, as I said, never played any Monster Hunter games. I watched a few streams very sparingly from people I know, but that's basically it. But yeah. As probably will be quite chaotic. I assume. I don't know, maybe I find someone to stream together with, but I don't know if it's maybe best if I, like my first experience of Monster Hunter I do by myself. I don't know. I have to think about it. We'll see on Saturday. Maybe I'll just stream Octopath Traveler. I don't know yet. But yeah. As I already said, thank you all so much for coming by. Thank you for the follows, and hi Lux. Goodbye everyone. I know Mumi is not here anymore, but still thank you for the raid. And I will now... God damn it, Panda! I wanted to raid you just now! Gosh darn it! Fake. I'm too tired to stream some more. Yes, my throat is hurting too from reading. Thank you so much for the raid. Oh, now I feel like obligated. I should read one little story still. Oh no, I'm never gonna finish today. I can already see I'm never gonna finish today. Oh dang it. Thank you for the raid. Hello raiders. For those who don't know me, I'm LuxTaleor, Wandering Tale Teller, and today we had, and apparently still have, a little storytelling game stream. I already read a few stories, and I wanted to stop and got a raid from Mumi. And then I read another story, and then I was about to finish up now. Now I get raided again by the Dear Panda. Thank you for that. And I guess now at least have to read one other small story because I'd feel bad otherwise. As I can already see, I'm never gonna end this stream. I only wanted to stream for a max 1.5 hours, already at 2. God damn it. No, I do enjoy it. I do enjoy it. I'm very thankful for it. It's just such a... It happened twice. I've had a nickel for every time it happens, and it happened too. But it's weird that it happened twice. I always wanted to say this. Yeah. I hope you had a nice stream, Panda. I saw that you already streamed before I even started. So I think you played Warhammer and now something called Stranded, Alien Dawn or something. I hope you had fun. And I'm just gonna open my Mythopedia Mythical Beast Tales storybook on a random page, and we're just gonna read this one. Oh, okay, I landed on the Basilisk. Very interesting creature. Warhammer was good until the final mission, which ruined my day. Then I played Stranded to relax. Oh no. I hope you managed to relax a little bit. Maybe a little tale can help you relax also a bit. That's it. I mean, I was talking a bit smack, but still thank you so much for the raid. I really, really appreciate it. Just, the timing was just like absolutely on point. I have to give it to it. The timing was just so on point. It's unbelievable. Well, let me tell you at least a small tale of the Basilisk. So, little facts I know of the Basilisk myself before I start reading. The Basilisk is a mixed creature. I think the head of a chicken, the head of a splin, and the tail of a snake. Did you remember correctly? And I think it's something else mixed into, or maybe I think of something else. Yeah. And it can turn people into stone. So, the Basilisk. It's a small but deadly serpent king. The description of it. Ancient Rome and medieval legends tell the most feared all beasts, the lethal basilisk. Half reptile, half bird. It has the tail of a snake, but its front end resembles a cockroach, with a beak, feathers, and 2 legs, crawling. It also has 2 scaly wings, similar to that of a dragon. Basilisks created when a cockroach sits on a snake's egg until it hatches, and the deadly creature emerges. They're quite small, but extremely dangerous. The basilisk has a deadly gaze, and anyone who looks into its eyes will drop dead on the spot. It is also so venomous that touching it means instant death. Even if a knight on horseback touches a basilisk with its spear, the venom will travel up the spear and kill both man and horse. Lastly, Basilisks have evil breath, which will poison you if you breathe it in. As basilisk crawls along plants, wither, die, and the ground is left bare and scorched. Other animals flee, especially birds and snakes, which fear it above all else. There are ways to defeat basilisks. One animal, the lowly weasel, is immune to its weapons, and its urine emits an odor that kills the venomous beast. Alternatively, use the basilisk's own powers to kill it by showing it the mirror. If it sees its reflection, it will die at once from the sight of its own face. Okay, I always thought... Okay, little correction from my part then. I thought basilisks turn you into stone. But I think there are probably different versions of the basilisk. So I know the version of them turning into stone. Remember this story? It's a very popular story in my country, but I'm not sure you have the same version. Like, there are different versions. I personally know the version where it turns people into stone. Like Medusa. But in this storybook here, it's about that they die. I also heard about the poisonous breath. That's familiar to me. I did not know that a weasel's urine can defeat a basilisk. That's new to me. Never knew that, but I guess you never stop learning. But yeah, I remember a story was back like in primaries. No, not primary. I think middle school. I had a history teacher which also very much like tales, and he also we also read the tale there about the basilisk, where basically basilisk was down in a well and slithered out every once in a while to kill the people or to turn them into stone. And at one point, a brave man, I think it was a young man, got down the well with a mirror, and basically the basilisk turned itself into stone and everyone else was freed. That's the version I remember. The one I remember, they just died too. Okay, maybe I just misremember it. It's also possible. Maybe I just misremember it. There's so many tales, and many of them are basically overlapping at some point, so there's definitely a possibility I just misremember or it's a different version. But yeah, the basilisk in Europe, a very famous creature. I think like at least like Central Europe, and maybe also I don't think so much in the north. It's more like Central Europe, like German-speaking country, Poland, Hungary. Maybe more into Slavic countries too. Maybe further into those, like towards Ukraine, Russia, or like the Southern Balkans, or like the Balkans. I can see those tales there too, or the Baltics. But yeah, I'm most familiar with it through the like Middle European kind of thing, Central European. But yeah, so now we stand for the question: who we gonna rate? Because from the people I know, Panda was the only one that's streaming right now. So I guess we gotta dip a bit in the dark here. Unless some of you know someone we should rate. I'm open for suggestions. But other than that, let me just have a quick look through this Twitch. I don't know if you ever heard of it. Oh, I don't want to listen to any other stream. Oh, let's just look a bit for the YouTuber tag. Let's see if we can find like a small streamer we can rate. I said, if some of you have a suggestion, I'm more than open for it. Just have a look. What do we have here? Okay, we have. We definitely have confirmation of ad here. I think I muted it. Don't want to like. What is this like? Figure Red Bull ads? I don't want that to play here. Just that looks quite cool, I gotta say. Okay, let's return. Channel is called Gizzy. I don't know her, but the model seems quite nice, and I think she's making a mood board. It seems quite fitting from telling tales to going over to this. So, gonna raid Gizzy. Say hi to her. Let's surprise her a bit. I don't know if she's expecting any raiders. She only has 2 views right now. So, give her a warm welcome. Oh, what? Warm hello, not welcome. Yeah. As I said, thank you to everyone who was watching. Thank you for everyone who was raiding. And I hope you all have a nice start into the weekend. We see each other on Saturday again. For either Octopath Traveler or Monster Hunter, or whatever I've come up with. Until then, bye-bye. And whoever wants to come along, let's raid someone.